today, issues that they have that they want to talk to us about, department, and let us know what they need. Billy Long, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Ranking Member Royal Allard, is that how you pronounce it? And members of the subcommittee, thank you for allowing me to come before you today to speak on the importance of H-2B Seasonal Worker Visa Program. Many of us in this room represent districts with various small and seasonal businesses that are struggling to find local workers to fill seasonal temporary jobs. Many of these businesses depend on seasonal workers through the H-2B visa program. Relief for these seasonal businesses is urgently needed and cannot wait. I am here today to ask for your support to include key H-2B visa program provisions in the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations fiscal year 2019 proposal. H-2B visas, the H-2B program is essential to employers who cannot find workers to fill temporary jobs in seafood processing, horse training, hospitality, amusement parks, forestry, landscaping, circuses, carnivals, and many other seasonal industries. It's important to point out that these workers are not immigrants. They provide an opportunity for businesses to operate at a greater capacity, retain their full-time workers, and contribute to the local economies. The H-2B program sustains American jobs. In fact, H-2B visas issued support 4.6 American jobs on average. Unfortunately, the program's annual 66,000 visa cap, 33 for each half of the fiscal year, is not adequate to meet the demands of the growing economy. In fact, the cap for seasonal half of fiscal year 2018 was reached February 27, 2018, leaving many seasonal employers excluded from the program with no access to legal seasonal laborers, leading to potential reductions in operating hours and closures. Without action, it is inevitable that the H-2B visa cap will be reached early in fiscal year 2019. An increase in the H-2B visa allotment from the existing 66,000 visas would certainly be a big step in the right direction. Often the cap is reached literally within days of when work petition applications are accepted. The program has essentially become a lottery as the demand for visas is far greater than what is issued. I understand firsthand the importance of this program. Missouri's 7th Congressional District, which I represent, is a tourism hotspot. I am proud to represent such entertainment centers as Branson, Missouri, a small town of just over 11,000 people, taking in 8.5 million visitors every year. I'd like to point out that a lot of those residents are retirees, and you've seen the ad on TV, I'm 85 and I want to go home, people that have to work until they're 85, and there's not a lot of people retired in Branson that could take these jobs that need to be filled. The deficiency in finding available employees in Branson affects everything from hotels to restaurants to theme parks to landscaping businesses. These are employers that have tried for years to fill the need for employees with locals and have been unable to do it. The H-2B program provides Branson community and many other destination cities across the country the ability to find employees so they can provide their services to the public. These seasonal destinations are very much dependent on such a program for the commerce in the area to effectively function. Simply put, there are just not enough able individuals to fill these job openings. It doesn't take a PhD from MIT to figure out that in a town like Jackson, Wyoming, of 10,000 people, or Branson, Missouri, of 11,000 people, these tourist areas that bring in millions of tourists every year, that you're not going to have the local population. If everyone there wanted to work 3 shifts 3 times, you wouldn't have the number. So I plead with you to please look at increasing this 66,000 cap. Again, I appreciate the committee's continued willingness to listen to the views of members like myself. I know the Appropriations Committee will face tough decisions on priorities for fiscal year 2019. For this reason, I respectfully ask for your support to include key H-2B visa program provisions in the Department of Homeland Security Appropriations fiscal year 2019 proposals.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Congressman Long, Ms. Robel, do you have any comments or questions?
No, other than say thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. Appreciate your consideration.
We understand the dilemma. We hear it from everybody. It is a challenging area, but we I support H-2Bs, and we'll work again to try to get some expansion. We also have some issues the White House has with H-2Bs that we've got to overcome.
I've
But
spoken to them too, and I've got them, I think, I don't have broke the league yet, but they're leaning that way.
we'll keep on them. And I apologize to Ms. Roble-Allard. I didn't make an opening statement. You want? Okay, that makes it easy. All right, we're joined by Brad Snyder. Brad, you're ready to go?
I'm all set, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman Carter, Ranking Member Roble-Allard, and the distinguished colleagues of the subcommittee. Thank you for this opportunity to speak before the committee. I'm here today to request robust funding for the Department of Homeland Security, specifically for 4 programs of particular importance to the residents of my district and our country. The United States has always been a nation of immigrants, a shining beacon of hope for those fleeing oppression and seeking a better life. I testified before this subcommittee last year, and since that time I have participated in a handful of naturalization ceremonies in my congressional district. I can't begin to explain how meaningful it is to experience these ceremonies, especially meeting the individuals who now proudly call themselves Americans. My grandmother and great-grandparents came to the United States in the early 1900s, fleeing the persecution of Jews in Tsarist Russia. This country gave her and her family, my family, boundless opportunities, and they were able to make a wonderful life for themselves. That is why I'm committed to both ensuring the safety and security of the American people and also ensuring our country remains a beacon for immigrants and a land of opportunity for all. I vehemently oppose President Trump's travel ban that arbitrarily bars entry of people seeking refuge from certain countries into this country. His travel ban does nothing to target the root causes of terrorism, does not make our country safer, and undermines the very values that define our nation. The Department of Homeland Security's U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, plays an important role in processing applications for those seeking entry in the United States as asylum seekers or through other U.S. humanitarian programs. USCIS faces major backlogs and delays when processing applications, so I continue to urge this committee to work with them and other agencies involved in refugee screening processes to identify whether there are ways to improve and ensure the timely processing of refugee and asylum applications. I also urge the committee to continue funding for the Urban Area Security Initiative, UASI program, which assists high-threat urban areas to build and sustain the necessary capabilities to prevent, mitigate, respond to, and recover from acts of terrorism. I have heard from emergency responders across my district about the importance of this program in keeping our communities safe. UASI funds are critical to the first responders as well as enabling regional coordination across districts and states. Additionally, I'd like to highlight one specific program within UASI that is of critical importance. This is the Nonprofit Security Grant Program, NSGP. The NSGP was created so at-risk nonprofit organizations that serve our community centers have the resources they need to protect themselves against potential threats. These funds may be used for important capital improvements to upgrade much-needed security measures. Underscoring the need for this program is the troubling rise of domestic extremism and hate incidents across the country. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the number of hate groups increased by 4% from 2016 to 2017, from 917 to 954 respectively. Additionally, the Anti-Defamation League found that anti-Semitic incidents increased 57% from 2016 to 2017. That's 1,267 incidents in 2016 to 1,986 incidents in 2017. These statistics exemplify the threats nonprofit organizations across the country face and the need to take these threats seriously. Therefore, I urge this subcommittee to continue this critical funding for NSGP. Finally, I would like to discuss the importance of the Assistant to Firefighter Grant, AFG, and staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, SAFER, grant programs. Fire departments and emergency response personnel in my congressional district have benefited greatly from these programs. They provide much-needed resources, including personnel, training, and equipment. AFG and SAFER have had an enormous impact on public safety, but the demand for these resources continue. I urge the committee to continue to fund these vital grant programs that help keep our communities safe. I realize the tough budgetary decisions that lie before this subcommittee, and I greatly appreciate your consideration of my priorities, your willingness to let us come and speak before you, and your work in addressing the fiscal requirements for fiscal year 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Snyder. And we do pay a lot of attention to these comments when people come in here, and we certainly will take them into consideration. We have notes of what you just said.
Great.
And we all read them, and we will do the best we can to accommodate you.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Ms. Roble Allen, any comment?
Again, just thank you for highlighting some very critical programs.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the committee want to make a comment? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Congressman Johnson. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I assume I'm recognized?
You are now recognized, yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to the committee for holding this important hearing today and providing me with an opportunity to say a few words. As some of you might know, I represent Eastern and Southeastern Ohio, and I'm here today to speak about the importance of resolving the current H-2B visa shortage directly impacting small businesses, seasonal businesses, particularly in my district and around the country. Earlier this month, in her testimony before this subcommittee, Secretary Nielsen stated that one of the core missions of the Department of Homeland Security is to preserve and uphold the nation's prosperity and economic security. Unfortunately, this critical mission continues to be impeded every year as the demand for H-2B visas surpasses the annual cap, leaving thousands of small seasonal businesses in jeopardy of closing their doors when their labor needs go unfulfilled. Our nation's prosperity and economic security is highly dependent upon the quality and quantity of workers, and with nearly 6 million unfilled jobs across the United States, it should come as no surprise that businesses continue to suffer from this nationwide labor shortage when it comes to meeting their seasonal needs. Put simply, seasonal businesses need the resources to do the jobs that are available, and the federal H-2B visa program provides a solution to the current labor shortage by enabling companies that qualify for the H-2B visa program to acquire temporary foreign workers to fill non-agricultural positions. The H-2B visa program is a small but necessary part of American economic landscape, helping to create and sustain jobs in my district and across the country. According to a U.S. Chamber of Commerce survey of employers, hiring H-2B visa workers allows companies to sustain and expand the volume of their business, and this in turn enables them to hire more U.S. workers. This temporary worker program is critical for many seasonal businesses, but it is by no means perfect. As the nationwide labor shortage continues, the seasonal businesses relying on the H-2B visa program are facing yet another challenge this year when it comes to obtaining the necessary workforce. The current demand for H-2B visas has again surpassed the annual cap of 66,000 per fiscal year. Now, I fully acknowledge that Congress bears some responsibility for this problem because up until 2016, employers could get an exemption for returning guest workers, thereby not counting against the caps. That exemption expired in 2016, and Congress has not been able to reauthorize it. But in the recently passed Consolidated Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2018, Congress did give DHS the authority to increase the caps by another 63,000, and DHS should do that. On March 1st, 2018, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced that employers sought several thousand more seasonal foreign workers this spring than there are visas available, resulting in a lottery for the H-2B visas, the first time a lottery has ever been conducted for H-2B visas. Such a lottery method gives no consideration to the many small seasonal businesses that have had returning guest workers for years, and their business models have made them dependent on this workforce for their very survival. We are in uncharted waters when it comes to the federal H-2B visa program, and in order to carry out its mission to preserve and uphold the nation's prosperity and economic security, Secretary Nielsen must provide these businesses with a sustainable H-2B cap relief. Small and seasonal businesses are desperate, as participation in the H-2 visa program is not their first choice. It's a last resort after unsuccessfully carrying out extensive recruitment efforts to secure American workers. My district is home to many amusement and landscaping companies that will face irreparable harm if the Department of Homeland Security does not provide H-2B visa cap relief immediately. In fact, 66% of businesses' seasonal labor needs will go unfulfilled this spring without immediate action, according to the Ohio Landscape Association. In fact, without substantial and immediate cap relief, some of the very same small businesses that we work so hard to help with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act are at risk of losing everything because they can't get their seasonal workers. One of my constituents, Chris Panzani, of the Panzani Landscaping Company, will be unable to meet his business obligations and will be forced to default on his contracts, lay off dedicated full-time U.S. workers, cancel orders with U.S. vendors, and in the worst-case scenario, he will have to close his 27-year business if additional H-2B visas are not released. This is just one of the many seasonal businesses in my district that are facing the same uncertain future because they can't obtain legal H-2B visa workforce. I know members on this committee are no strangers to stories like this, as similar stories have emerged in states and districts across America. So I am hopeful everyone here can agree when I say we need immediately substantial H-2B visa cap relief, and we must do everything we can to urge Secretary Nielsen and the Department of Homeland Security to make additional H-2B visas available, just like we told them they could do recently in the legislation that passed and was signed into law. And this is going to help the small and seasonal businesses that we work so hard to protect. The 60% of businesses that provide the small businesses that provide over 60% of the jobs in America. And Mr. Chairman, it's a desperate situation. We saw it happen last year as it unfolded, and this lottery system is just totally unfair and inconsiderate of businesses that have been out there for years, and there are victims of inaction by Congress and an agency that, for whatever reason, is moving too slowly to try and remedy the problem in the near term. So I urge the committee to do what they can to help, and with that, I yield back and I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Are any questions? Lucille?
This is a serious issue, and I thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Mr. Johnson for shedding light on this issue. It's all over the country. You're absolutely right, even up in the Pacific Northwest. And you and Mr. Long bring a very important issue forward, and hopefully we can do something to remedy the situation. Thank you.
With the committee's indulgence, can I give one more example? County fairs. County fairs. Rural America, that's the heartbeat. I mean, that's where life happens in rural America. If you can't get merry-go-rounds and roller coasters and vendors set up for county fairs and they have to cancel those county fairs, 4-H, livestock shows, demolition derbies, arts and crafts, you name it. The heartbeat of our country is at risk here of shutting down because of a glitch here in Washington, D.C. Please urge the Department of Homeland Security to move immediately to do what Congress has given them the power to do and allocate those additional 63,000 H-2B visas for this year. We'll fix it. We'll work on a bigger solution next year, but let's get the problem solved this year and get it solved now. Waiting until July and August, many of those businesses will have already been shut down because the contracts will be too late, the field will be too wet to plow.
Yes, Mr. Guerrero, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree. Congress took some action. Now we're waiting for the administration. Chairman, I don't know if I'm missing something, but I thought we're the ones that enact the laws. So if we did that, why are we waiting? Why can we not? I mean, why do we have to wait? Because you're right. I mean, I see that in different parts of my area also. They're waiting for this, and we changed it. So why are we waiting?
I thank my colleague for asking that question. Here's my understanding of the problem. It's not a problem. Well, first of all, Congress, as I mentioned, bears some responsibility because we allowed that returning guest worker exemption to expire back in 2016. That would have solved this whole problem because then businesses that have a history of getting these workers, they wouldn't even have counted toward the caps, and it would only be new businesses that we were dealing with. So that's where Congress is culpable. But the problem is not so much in the House. We passed legislation out of the House that went to the Senate in the Consolidated Appropriations bill that we passed just a few weeks ago. It's the language in the Senate that makes it difficult, but the Department of Homeland Security can help us and help the American people by responding to the temporary fix we gave them to go ahead and just approve the caps up to 63,000. Let us worry about fixing a permanent fix next year. I'm trying to give Homeland Security a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. This is a problem that we created by letting that exemption expire, but they can help us resolve it since we haven't been able to get it resolved legislatively.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I want to work with you and the ranking woman, and you know, I mean, it looks like it's a very bipartisan request, and whatever we can do, you know, I want to help you.
Well, to go on the record, I've raised that number every year since I've been chairman. In addition, I supported the returning worker exemption, that we should have that. There was a large, during a political season, a large uproar from numbers to USAA and some other people that jammed that issue.
Sure.
They're concerned about people staying and all that stuff. It's a necessary need of the country everywhere we are. And just to give you another example, I've got 168,000 homes in Houston, Texas, above our normal 50,000 a year building rate that have got to be repaired, and we don't have laborers to do it. So and there's no bigger disaster than that. All those people are out getting money from the government, living outside of their homes.
In all due respect, Mr. Chairman, you guys are probably getting some of the seasonal workers that my folks ought to be getting because you got all that work down there to do. But
I don't know.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing that we got that much work to do. But I appreciate the concern.
So I'm very much in favor of increasing this, and I will be raising that issue.
Well, I thank the committee very much for indulging my time. Thank you very much. I yield back.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if you can excuse me, I know you're a judge also, but I do have a federal judge from San Antonio, so I'm going to say hello. Recognize Judge Xavier Rodriguez from San Antonio, one of our federal judges.
We try to keep him in line. It's a lot of work. But you know him, so you know what we're talking about. Welcome, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Congressman French Hill from the great state of Arkansas.
Thank you, Judge. Proud to be with you today. And Ranking Member, thanks for having me. And members, appreciate the time to be together. Mr. Cuellar, as he departs. Appreciate the opportunity to testify in front of you today in support of the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program and the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Act program. Fire departments need adequate staffing, equipment, and training to keep our communities safe, and these programs have a significant impact on our fire departments in my home state of Arkansas. While I've been in office, fire departments in my district have received more than $3 million of these grants. 13 individual fire departments have received over 19 awards, with the highest award being $600,000 for North Little Rock, Arkansas, and the smallest being $19,000 to Burnt Ridge, Arkansas. This shows that even the smallest award changes the lives of those living in their communities. With the $19,000 received by the Burnt Ridge Fire Department, they were able to purchase thermal cameras, which is a game changer when responding to serious calls. Burnt Ridge was also able to purchase a new brush truck. Before they received FEMA funding, they were using a converted 1965 military truck to transport water. In Arkansas' 2nd Congressional District, our departments need new self-contained breathing apparatus desperately, especially in our smallest departments. They're old and outdated and no longer are certified for operation. Radios are also a big need. For example, the Little Rock Fire Department currently needs 90 mobile radios and 202 portable radios at a total cost of $1.3 million. Finally, departments typically need turnout cabinets. Firefighters are putting their lives on the line, not just in the immediate risk of bodily harm, but in the increased risk of harmful contaminants. These units cost over $30,000 each, which is well over the budget for most departments in my district. They need to have these units to clean their turnout gear after runs to remove harmful contaminants. In Central Arkansas, we have a strong community spirit, and the firefighters know that if one department is able to purchase one of these turnout cabinets, then the area departments, especially volunteers, will be able to maintain their turnout gear safe and well. Assistance to firefighter grant funding is necessary for fire departments across my district. Often the needs are too great for them to do it alone, and we're proud to support them in their applications. These grants have changed their communities and make the area exponentially, in my view, and unmeasurably safer. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'll attach to my testimony the total grant awards in the 2nd Congressional District.
Hearing no objection.
I thank the chairman. This data shows how far this grant money can go for our small towns and fire departments across our congressional districts that keep our communities safe. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your consideration of both the SAFER grants and the work done in our Homeland Security Department and by FEMA, and thanks for the opportunity to appear.
Thank you for your input, and we do take these requests seriously. Be sure and get any written requests you have in.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Robledo, do you have anything else? No. Thank you, sir. And our final person is on her way, so we'll be ready shortly. We welcome Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of the great state of Texas. Ms. Jackson Lee, we are ready to hear from you.
Thank you so very much. And again, all of us appreciate the work of the Appropriations Committee, and particularly those of you who are here today. I sit on the Budget Committee, and I know when we do member input, it is appreciated by the members, and I certainly appreciate you. I'm going to ask unanimous consent to place my statement in the record and just give a few points. This morning, I thank you, and it will give a list of pre-disaster mitigation, port security, TSA, and others, but I do want to, and I may mention one, but I do want to just comment, since Judge, all of us, I know that Congresswoman Earl Albert has been in the midst of disasters as well. But we're still dealing with Hurricane Harvey in Texas, and I know that there are a number, Maria in Puerto Rico. We heard this morning in a meeting, Mr. Chairman, that one of the cities in Puerto Rico, a good portion of the cities, I think it's Ponce, is without electricity still. In the hearing this morning with the Secretary of Homeland Security, I want to just emphasize these points, and the Appropriations Committee, I think, can be very effective in some of these concerns. Let me say that I believe that the department is less diverse than it's ever been. And this is not a question of someone's political views, but I know that there are competent people of like mind that could be hired that are Latino, African American, Asian, and it's just not there. In particular, the Secretary's office has no diverse person in her immediate office. That's a question of recruitment, retention. I think we're well aware that the department is lacking in the necessary resources. Number two, if you will, we're very unclear on how enforcement proceeds with dreamer, status dreamer persons, meaning that they are status. And what we hear is that the Border Patrol still drills down on dreamer status individuals as they cross the border, and I didn't get a satisfactory answer, as well as the fact that I think it's important for appropriators to ask the question. I know that we have a difference of opinion, but whether or not with the court decisions that are not clear, that it would be appropriate for new applications to be taken in, as well as those who are re-upping. And I just think these are questions that we who have oversight responsibilities should. I used to be the chairwoman of the Transportation Security Committee on Homeland Security, and so I work very much with Transportation Security Administration. And one of the issues that's extremely important and should be considered, and forgive me, I have not looked to see whether there was an increase in compensation for those TSOs, but as I travel the airports, I engage with management at every airport to find out how many FTEs they have, TSOs, and what's the level of success that they're having. So clearly the question of retention is crucial for the Transportation Security Administration. They are losing people. It's great to think of this agency as a stair step, but there are many who view it as a professional opportunity. And what they argue is they need more support on retention, professional development, and we should assess, which may have been done, but I want to put this on the record, their compensation. What happens is that they go to DEA, they go to the FBI, they're able to do so, and ATF and other federal agencies, which certainly is a credit, but I believe that the Transportation Security Administration, I know this committee has worked very hard Ranking Member has worked very hard on professionalizing the TSA, which is a first line of defense in the nation's airports. And I think that that is extremely important that we look at that. The final off-the-hand comment I want to make, and then I'll make one or two. I didn't notice, but I think maybe I've gone off my time, so please forgive me. The FEMA structure.
Your time's okay. We're not keeping time.
Sorry. And I think we've all worked on this. There are good people in the FEMA operation, the administrator. I've worked with all of them. And as good human beings, I would never question. But I do think that all of us need to look at a reconfiguration of FEMA to the rescue period, which is when you rush in and you bring in generators and people from all over the country, and you're standing up shelters and you're helping people. I remember not my city, not Harris County, but a city by Port Arthur, which is a neighbor and a neighbor to my colleague. When I say neighbor, neighboring city in another colleague's district, but people reached out because I was on Homeland Security, and they were so small that they just didn't know what to do. They literally had people out on the street. This is in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, and clearly didn't know how to reach the state to get permission to get some kind of temporary housing, tents, whatever. They were trying to get on barges, and they were being rejected. Somebody came up and said, I can get you on some barges. And frankly, they were able to get through to the state, which helped them with some form of housing. The point is that there should be the immediate rescue period and then the recovery period. So I'm dealing with people right now who are being put out of hotels, and however you want to characterize them, they're put in the category of not eligible. But you still have people who are without homes. And if there was the rescue, and then there was a long-term recovery, those individuals could at least have a long-term response to what they should be doing. They don't have that. And I came to say this because I was really shocked. We're working on it right now. A constituent who we directed to the last remaining DRC said, they're laughing at us. And it may be people are exasperated, they're overworked, they're from out of town, but that's just something, no matter what area of disaster you may fall in, it's not even a year for these people. It looks like, if I might say, these are the not doing anything for themselves people. I can say that we have a shortage of affordable housing in a big city like Houston. We've lost a lot of them. We lost some to Hurricane Harvey, to be very honest. And so these people need a long-term hand-holding, and it's not even August. And as many of you know, we in the Gulf are coming into our hurricane season. And I just think as partners on Homeland Security authorizing and working, that we should find some way to bolster FEMA's really important two-pronged task. Is they are, immediate responders, of which you hear people saying FEMA, FEMA, FEMA. They're the state operator, the emergency center, they're there, the shelter stand-up that they do, but then these people, and they're all over in many jurisdictions, need that extra help. So I'm trying to, or am drafting a reconfiguration of FEMA in those two prongs, and I certainly hope to listen to FEMA about how that works. We've already talked to them to get their input as to how that will work and how that would be effective. The other point is that in the hearing that Mr. McCall and we had as the Homeland Security field hearing, our cities, and you may be facing the same, have not gotten their reimbursement for school reimbursement and other assistance that they have sent the invoice, if you will, and they've not yet gotten that funding. Now, and I don't think it was tied to the recent omnibus, because I think they certainly got money in the last go-round that we gave. All of this is to say we have good people working. FEMA personnel that come from faraway places who stand up to work as contractor, whatever the structure is. I know they're good people, but again, you can't laugh at my constituents. You can't laugh because they come in and whatever they missed getting, whatever they didn't do right, they're still homeless. They're still short out of this hotel. And they're still in a place that has people living in homes that are nothing but shells. They don't have they haven't put the drywall up, they haven't done anything. They just got it out and they're there. This is the plight of disasters, which we, as a country, I think, have always had a big heart for trying to restore people, but we've got to have the system to help us restore people as well. So in this, I have funding for FEMA's hazardous mitigation assistance, for emergency food and shelter, which is important, staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, and the U.S. is $750 for that, the transit security. But I close on this. The first responders are wonderful, and as we understand the president's budget, some of those dollars for them were cut, and I certainly want to speak for them today to say that those that funding dollar should be there. I've got things like port security, but I want to submit this into the record. $45 million for university programs, Homeland Security Centers of Excellence, for HBCUs and Hispanic serving institutions. They've been a wonderful tool to train Homeland Security experts. With that, I appreciate your tolerance and as well the opportunity to appear before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson-Lee, and we too take seriously all the requests that come in here. We'll look at them within the resources we've got available, and we'll try our very best. And you know, I'm a native of Houston. My heart's in Houston, and I'm very, very concerned and speak about it almost every day. Just had people requesting H-2B visas in here. We desperately need them in Houston. There's a lot of need in Houston. We'll do the best we can. Ms. Robel-Allard?
Just to say thank you and echo what the chairman said, we will do our best.
Any further comments from the committee? All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming in, Ms. Jackson-Lee.
Thank you so very much. We will be working together.
I guess that's the end of the hearing. We'll recess this hearing. Or adjourn it, I guess. So